welcome to Studies in Theatre MOOC program. Students, I welcome you to this lecture on writing in theatre. As you know that I am providing you a very detailed discussion on writing in theatre because it is a very significant paradigm, and generally courses do not offer any discussion on what are the various aspects of writing in theatre. So today we will take up new topics. We have discussed some genres and how to write about them, comedy, satire, etc. in the previous lectures. Now today we will talk about screenwriting. So what is screenwriting? It is a vital aspect of filmmaking that requires creativity, skill and dedication. Through effective storytelling and compelling characters, screenwriters have the power to captivate audience and leave a lasting impact on the world of cinema. Now, you must be wondering, why am I talking of cinema? Because screenwriting is related to cinema, but it is one kind of writing which emanates from those people who are very good in writing plays and other kinds of things. So you can make use of this kind of writing in theatre also, and therefore I'm bringing in this particular genre which has its presence in cinema, but can be made use of certain techniques in theatre as well. So it is crafting scripts for visual media like films and TV, focusing on narratives, characters and dialogues, and it forms the foundation of visual medium, of video productions, guiding directors and crew who are involved in generating ideas. The entire process is like that. First of all, ideas are generated, then characters are developed, dialogues are crafted out, and then some kind of standards are followed, where whatever prescribed standards are there in a particular industry. So a screenwriter creates stories and characters collaborating with others to realize their vision on screen. The goals are that they have to engage. So what is the structure of a screenplay? It is the structure of a screenplay is, there is a foundational framework in screenwriting. The 3-act structure divides a screenplay into 3 main sections. Act 1 is setup, Act 2 is confrontation, and Act 3 is resolution. Now in Act 1, the characters are introduced, setting, central conflict, laying the groundwork for the story's development. These things are done in the Act 1. Then the second act is dominated by the rising tension, conflict and obstacles faced by the protagonist, leading to the story's climax. Then the climax is the pivotal moment where the central conflict reaches its peak, demanding a decisive response from the protagonist. Then Act 3 is a kind of resolution where closure is achieved by resolving the conflicts and delivering a satisfying conclusion to the story, ensuring audience satisfaction. So plot points and turning points are to be created, some key moments that drive the story forward and mark significant shifts in the narrative, often occurring at the end of the act. The importance of the structure is that it helps the screenwriters organize their ideas, develop coherent storylines, and maintain audience engagement throughout the screenplay. It serves as a guiding framework for effective storytelling. You must understand that this act structure is just for the guidance of the screenwriter. Now within these acts, various episodes are created. A long screenwriting is done by the script writer. So this needs to be mastered when you are doing writing, because it is essential for all the aspiring screenwriters to craft the compelling and cohesive narratives, because this resonates with the audience. So if you understand the principles of storytelling and its structure, so screenwriters can create scripts that captivate, because you ultimately want the audience to be captivated to your productions and also to entertain them. Now have a look at 3-act structure with the help of this diagram. So there is beginning, there inciting incident, There are second thoughts, then the climax of Act 1, then there is obstacles, ascending action is there, then there is midpoint, a big twist, then there are more spectacles and obstacles, disaster, crisis, climax of Act 2, and then the action starts to descend, and that is the climax of Act 3 and wrap up and end. So Act 1 is setup, Act 2 is confrontation, Act 3 is resolution. What are the guidelines for screenplays? So industry standard format is that screenplays adhere to specific guidelines widely accepted in the film and television industry to ensure clarity, professionalism and readability. So you have to adhere to specific guidelines because there are certain work cultures, there are certain priorities of each industry, and they are followed by the people who are involved in writing. Also keep in mind, how does your screenplay look like, because it is generally written in Courier 12-point font, a mono-spaced font and with 1-inch margins on all sides for the consistency. Well, this is one kind of a draft, but there are some other drafts available which according to the requirement are created and standardized. Then spacing and alignment, dialogue, action lines and scene headings are aligned left, while character names centered above dialogue. Dialogue double spaced for clarity. Each scene is beginning on a new page. You don't have to create a tale of any scene and you have to start it from the fresh page. So this is about the spacing and alignment. What are the elements of screenplay that you should keep in mind? It includes scene headings such as slug lines. So there are headings that tell you what is going to happen in that scene. Then action lines which tell you what specific action is to be taken place, like somebody is running or cooking or watching TV in that scene. Then, character names, dialogue and parentheticals are there. So character names are there, dialogues and parentheticals are used, and all these serve a distinctive purpose in conveying the story and guiding production. So if there are wrong punctuations in a screenplay, that can impact the production, misunderstanding, and that leads to delays, confusions, and maybe impact is lost when such mistakes of wrong parenthesis or wrong punctuation marks are available. Scene heading, it's consists of int or ext, that is exterior, whether it is an interior location or it is an exterior location, and look time of the day or night, what in 24 hours, at what time this scene is taking place. So this is also provided in the heading of a scene. Then action lines describing visual and auditory elements concisely, capturing scene essence without verbosity. So the scene has to be described. Do not be very long in its description. What kind of auditory elements are there, they are also to be described in a concise manner, and capture the essence of the scene in few words without having very lengthy discussion. Then dialogue formatting, character names centered above dialogue, followed by spoken lines, parentheticals, used sparingly for additional direction or context. So how to format dialogue? You have to place the character names in the center above the dialogue, and then the line that is to be spoken is provided. For if some kind of context is there, if some kind of specific direction is there, like how that dialogue has to be delivered, or who that dialogue has to be spoken to, or why, if there is a particular action that the character is doing while speaking that dialogue, then that is provided in parentheses. Then pagination, that is page numbers, are very important If you do not provide page numbers, then rehearsals will become very difficult, because it is literally to be on same page. This is an idiomatic expression, but here it matters literally, because if you do not have the page numbers, then the rehearsal process will be like people are on different pages. So pages consecutively numbered in the top right corner, starting from the first page, aiding organization and reference during production, is very important, because that helps people to refer to a particular page number, go to that number, or maybe there are some rehearsals where people are separate, having their own rehearsals separately, individual rehearsal, so they can mark out pages for their convenience. Then formatting is very crucial because it leads to consistency. It also creates professional look to your script, and it creates ease of reading. Uh, People who have very well typed and formatted script are, you can impress the directors, you can impress the selection process, because it is benefiting the producer, actors, directors, and everyone who is involved in that process of production. So adhering to any prescribed standard is important. Whatever requirement is there, you need to find out first and foremost that what are the requirements of this particular industry, whether it's, let us say, Mumbai film industry, or Chennai film industry, or Hyderabad film industry. What kind of requirement do they have? What are their standards? What do they follow? Follow those guidelines, formatting guidelines, dialogue writing guidelines. So this can lead to you to present your work in a professional manner and increase the likelihood of your work being considered for production. So formatting may seem like a minor issue, but it plays a very important role in the overall presentation and perception of a screenplay, because maybe you have a very good story, but that story gets lost because the screenplay is not written nicely. It is not very well defined screenplay. It is slightly shoddy in its presentation. It doesn't follow the standards prescribed by a particular industry. So that is something very significant. Now I'm showing you this picture that has all these elements of that we have discussed. You can see there is a scene heading, and on the description of what does it do? It is one line description of the entire process, location of the play, where is the play taking place. So it is exterior, as it says, and it is a suburban home which has, and it's the time of night. So just this much, not more than that. Then there is a page number, and it starts the beginning of the screenplay. Then the number 1 on the right is scene number. So this is scene number 1, exterior, suburban home, it's night time. Then the description is, we open on a modern suburban home, the front window illuminated by the lights inside. We see the silhouette of a small human figure as it runs back and forth. We push in closer as we slowly see a boy running around the house. So the description is there, the mood is there, the setting is there. That is, you have to write this. Then cut to. Cut to means now after this scene is introduced, cut to. Use this as a transition, like the scene is changing, and what kind of change is this? It is used as a transitional instructions for editing. So this is for the editors to follow, that how will they change this particular scene. Then the action is introduced, the description of the actions in a scene. It's visible in that statement, in that description. Now after this next is interior. Scene 2 is interior, suburban home, kitchen and night time. So first scene is there, then the second scene is there. The description says, action says, A green ball sits on a countertop. A young hand snatches it. It belongs to Filbert, who is 9. Wiry, lost in his imaginary world, dressed as a knight, a toy sword in his other hand. Now the character's name is there. Filbert, it's written in the center, and there is the description VO. This is an identification of the character who is speaking. So, this is my castle, I am sworn to protect it. Anyone that stands in my way shall hear the wrath of the Almighty. So, this is an extension which clarifies where a character is and when they can't be seen. Alright, this is a voiceover. So, this is a voiceover means the character is not visible right now, but this voice is to be heard. Then the next thing is Becky. Becky is looking into phone. So this is a parenthetical. It provides detailed information on how the actor should say the line. So if an actor is looking into a phone and then he or she has to speak, there is a certain method of speaking that, doing that. Then after that you have intercut phone conversation, which means instructions when cutting to multiple locations. So this intercut phone conversation is the instruction are for the editor that how they have to cut the phone conversation. Then again the name of the character is in the center, you can see this, and that's perfectly normal when she says this. Tracy says this. Filbert lifts his sword. Again there is a description, and then subheader is hallway. There is a description of a next situation, of another situation. Subheader used when there are minor changes in a location. So from room to hallway. So there is a minor change in the location. So you don't write it as change in scene of exterior or interior, but you write it simply as a subheading, and the editors will understand that they have to just show a little bit. Then Filbert's POV means point of view. So you have to put the camera from Filbert's point of view. So this is the important thing. It indicates the camera angle or movement in a scene. So everything has to be written in detail while writing a screenplay. From what angle the camera is to be, whose perspective is to be shown in a particular scene, because somebody may be speaking very good dialogues, and if you don't show that person's perspective or do not put camera on that person's face, then it can lead to a disaster. So there are several kinds of things that have to be kept in mind while doing this kind of a thing. Then how do we develop plot and subplots in a screenplay? So plot development refers to the plot of a screenplay which comprises the sequence of events that advance the narrative and drive characters towards their objectives. So plot means arrangement of action, how the story that is there. The story can be told in one line, but that story is shown in the entire production through various actions, and the arrangement of those actions, those scenes, is called as plot. Screenplay is all about the plots. Screenplay is all about the subplots. Screenplay actually it's a collaboration of various small, minor, major actions written in detail with description of how to do them, where to do them. So that is the entire narrative and entire thing in which we get to know what characters are, how do they speak, what are their objectives, everything. Then there has to be a central conflict in your play, in your script, because this conflict anchors the screenplay, means it's the central thing. Maybe for example, if a film is about, let us say, a particular kind of cricket match. So the conflict will be how will this cricket match take place, because for a long time a particular team has not been able to win and it wants to win, and they have an arch rival. They have to defeat their arch rival. So this is the conflict. This conflict will now hold the entire plot in its discussion. So it will present challenges that propel the characters forward. It should be clear, compelling, and rooted in characters' desires and obstacles. So the conflict must focus on the desires and obstacles that the characters have to face. The conflict is connected to the each character's role in that conflict resolution. So that should be balanced, because it depends on to what extent each character is participating. If it's a major character, he or she will have a main role, he or she will have more impact because of that conflict. And if a character is minor, that character will have less impact because of on him or her because of that conflict. So stakes are different. All characters have different stakes and in the conflict. So those stakes have to be clearly defined. If there is no clarity, then sometimes we watch films and certain TV serial, or then we start wondering why that character was introduced. What was the role of that character? Could we have done without that character? This is the real test of a character. Like, if a character's presence does not change the entire plot, then it means that the script writing and screenplay has not been written correctly. The next thing is character goals and motivations. So this provides direction and purpose for the plot. What are the goals of each characters? If a character has to fight for his country, then that will create action in the plot, that will create scenes in plot. So the goals of characters, they develop scenes in plot and also subplot. Plot has to move in a certain direction. If that country is going to fight for if that man is or woman is going to fight for the country, whether that person wins or loses, that is the story. So the purpose of the plot will be to show that person's life through different kinds of episodes. Then understanding of protagonists' objectives and motivations shapes the narrative and establishes stakes for the audience. If we know the characters' objectives, especially protagonists, and what motivations are there, then it shapes the entire narrative of the play, of the screenplay. Subplots are the secondary storylines, which are sometimes running parallel to the main plot, but sometimes they also participate in the main plot and enrich the total narrative, the complexity. They add layers to the plot. And these days, sometimes people who are into TV industry, they do not have very specific kind of production time, so they add many subplots in order to enhance the length of their programs. So what is the purpose of a subplot? It serves as various functions like character development, thematic exploration, narrative enrichment, and they also add layers to the story. The story does not look monotonous, monolith, a linear story. It goes in different directions. It also introduces various conflicts, and then it also engages audience of different kind, because different audience members may have different kinds of liking for characters. So this is a very important aspect. Subplots must be there and you must know their importance while writing them. You must also keep in mind that plots and subplots are balanced very nicely. So strike a balance, ensure that a narrative cohesion is there and momentum is maintained. If a subplot is disturbing the momentum of the main plot, then it is not correct. Then you must focus on how to create a balance between them so that there is cohesion as well as momentum. Subplots should enhance the central conflict and contribute to thematic resonance. Their role is not to take down the energy of main plot. Rather, their role is to enhance the energy, resonance and impact of the main plot, the conflict of the main plot. Then there are a lot of subplots. How will you integrate them? You are going in multiple directions. So keep in mind that while while creating multiple subplots, you may not lose the direction of the play. So organic integration should be there. This integration should not look like some kind of enforcing or some kind of useless presence of a character, or there is no meaning in its presence, the story does not have any connection. So they should have some organic kind of presence with each other, integration with each other. That is important for generating the coherence and relevance in the main plot as well as the entire narrative. So try to write subplots in such a way that they complement the main plot and do not overshadow it. So sometimes subplot may become very important and writers may get carried away. Well, this is not a desired thing. One must stick to one's main plot and try to see how we can weave different kinds of subplots around it in order to let the story go on and the plot go on in its original essence. The last point is resolving subplots. So subplots resolution is important. Do not leave them unresolved because that irritates the audience. The audience feel cheated. Unless if it is an open-ended film or open-ended text, but there must be some kind of resolution because that resolution will lead to a clarity in the mind of audience and they will have a better viewing experience. So they should be resolved to the satisfaction of viewers, not guided by what viewers want, but as a viewer, a screenplay writer must read the resolution of the plot, especially subplots, so that the baggage of unresolved subplots will not impact the main plot and the audience will have an unhindered entertainment as well as viewing. So whether converging with the main plot is required or you want to resolve them independently, that is your choice. But you must look at how will you resolve. This is the choice. Sometimes they get resolved with the main plot. Like in Shakespeare's plays, comedy plays, you find that there are subplots, there are marriage issues, and all those issues are resolved when the main plot is resolved. And in the last scene, there is a resolution of minor plots also, subplots also. So that adds to the joy and resolution of the main plot. It deburdens the impact on the audience. It is very cathartic to look at the resolution. Although it is a trend in modern performance culture to create open-ended texts, open-ended plays, open-ended films, but even in open-ended stories, it's the story that is left open-ended, but the plot does reach a resolution. So resolution has nothing to do with and they lived happily ever after. It means that a certain action has come to its completion and for now that action is over, but the life is not over, but time is moving on, there is dynamism, there is possibility of changes. That is up to the storyline, but plot must have a resolution. Main plot must be resolved, subplots must be resolved, and that resolution of subplots help in the resolution of main plot also. So all in all, subplots add to the narrative closure and also the depth in the themes and philosophy, main idea, political message, social message, all that is there in the film or any screenplay that you are writing for. So this is all about the screenplay writing. I will take you in different lecture for different kind of genre of writing, that is important from the point of view of theatre. So this is for now. The pictures that I have used have been taken from these sources. Thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture. See you in different lecture.